Imagine waking up one morning, reaching into a forgotten box of old coins, and discovering that the tiny brown penny you've ignored for decades is suddenly worth more than most luxury homes in America. Sounds unbelievable, right? Yet today, a single 1967 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny has shaken the coin-collecting world by reaching a staggering current market value of $967,000, with some rare examples predicted to push well into the millions. And if you're watching this right now, you might be sitting just a few feet away from one of these life-changing treasures without even knowing it. Welcome to a journey that could turn the most ordinary coin in your house into the most extraordinary financial opportunity of your lifetime. And trust me, once you learn what makes the 1967 penny so powerful, you'll never look at pocket change the same way again. Before we dive deep, take a moment and imagine what an extra $1 million would mean for your life. A new home, freedom from debt, a future where you control your time instead of trading it away. Because that's exactly why thousands of people between the ages of 30 and 65 are digging through drawers, jars, and old coffee cans right now, hoping their hidden wealth has been sitting quietly beneath their noses for years. The story of the 1967 no-mint Mark penny doesn't begin with value. It begins with chaos. The U.S. Mint was under tremendous pressure during the mid-1960s. A nationwide coin shortage had people panic hoarding change. Silver coins were disappearing from circulation, and the mint was desperate to produce coins quickly, efficiently, and in massive quantities. In a rush to stabilize the financial system, mint marks were temporarily removed to discourage collectors from hoarding new releases. No mint mark meant all pennies looked the same, regardless of whether they came from Philadelphia, Denver, or San Francisco. Millions of 1967 pennies rolled off the presses. Most were perfect ordinary copper coins. Most were forgotten. Most lost their shine decades ago. So how in the world can one of them be worth nearly $1 million today? Here's where the story takes a dramatic turn. Even in chaotic times, mistakes happen. And when mistakes happen at the U.S. Mint, collectors don't just pay attention. They pay extraordinary amounts of money. Some 1967 pennies were struck with unusually sharp detail, showing exceptional definition in Lincoln's hair, beard, and coat. Some were minted using dies that lasted longer than they should have, causing doubling, misalignments, or pressure irregularities. A few were struck on the wrong planchet, and a tiny number, so few that collectors fight over them, survived in unbelievably pristine condition, untouched by circulation. Imagine a small piece of copper, weighing just 3.11 grams, holding the same market value as a luxury condo in Miami. Sounds wild, doesn't it? But that's exactly what happens when rarity and demand collide. Now here's where the fear sets in. Because millions of Americans have unknowingly thrown away these rare pennies, spent them at grocery stores, or left them in jars that were later cashed in at Coinstar machines. Some of the most valuable coins in U.S. history were lost simply because someone assumed a penny was just a penny. And even now, people are cleaning their coins, ruining the original surfaces and destroying values that could have changed their lives forever. If you're watching this, don't be that person. The difference between a life-changing penny and an ordinary penny is usually less than 1 second of decision-making. But let's shift to the excitement, because this is where the opportunities unfold for you. The most valuable 1967 Lincoln pennies share several powerful traits. They were preserved in high-grade condition, often forgotten in estate boxes or stashed away by accident. Their surfaces show the sharp brilliance of early die strikes. Some have dramatic errors, striking anomalies that collectors love because they cannot be replicated. And because 1967 pennies have no mint mark, identifying these valuable versions feels like uncovering a hidden code. Anyone can do it. You don't need expensive equipment or years of experience. You just need the right knowledge, a careful eye, and the willingness to look. Surprisingly, you might already own one. Maybe it's buried in your father's coin collection. Maybe it's sitting in the back of your safe. Maybe it's mixed into an old roll of pennies you haven't touched since childhood. And here's the real kicker. Some of the rarest 1967 pennies were never intentionally saved. They slipped into circulation, survived decades of handling, and somehow remain in better condition than expected. If one of those ended up in your home, your story could shift from ordinary to extraordinary instantly. Now let's build some urgency. Because as the demand for rare coins skyrockets, the market is heating up. Wealthy collectors, high-end investors, and private buyers are aggressively hunting for premium specimens. Every month, more rare coins vanish into private vaults, never returning to the open market. And once they're gone, their prices can skyrocket faster than you can imagine. We're seeing bidding wars. We're seeing sudden price jumps. We're seeing everyday Americans turning forgotten change into generational wealth. The window of opportunity is open right now, but no one can guarantee how long it will stay open. What makes the 1967 penny even more intriguing is the emotion attached to it. This coin represents the tension and uncertainty of the 1960s, the struggles of an overstretched mint, and the resilience of a nation trying to stabilize its currency. Owning one of the rarest examples isn't just possessing a coin, it's holding history. It's holding a piece of America's financial identity, captured forever in copper. But this story isn't just about the coin's past. It's about your future. Picture this. You sit down at your kitchen table, pour out a jar of pennies collected over the years, and begin sorting them one by one. Your mind wanders, thinking about the bills you want to pay off, the places you want to travel, the lifestyle you dream of living. And then, suddenly, there it is. A 1967 penny with deep original luster, razor-sharp lines, and the unmistakable qualities of a rare specimen. Imagine the jolt of adrenaline, the disbelief, the moment when your heart races because you know, without question, that your life might never be the same. And if you think that sounds dramatic, ask anyone who has found a rare penny worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. They'll tell you that nothing, and I mean nothing, compares to the feeling of realizing you've been sitting on a fortune all along. Now, here's the cliffhanger you didn't expect. Not all million-dollar 1967 pennies look rare at first glance. Some are hiding under dull surfaces. Some show only subtle signs visible under the right light. Many high-value examples were overlooked for decades by people who assumed they weren't special. So yes, the treasure you're searching for may look painfully ordinary, until you know exactly what to look for. As we move toward the final stretch of this journey, one thing becomes crystal clear. Wealth doesn't always come from stocks, real estate, or business ventures. Sometimes it comes from knowledge that most people overlook. And today, that knowledge belongs to you. The 1967 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny is a symbol of hidden wealth, of overlooked opportunity, and of the extraordinary rewards waiting for those who dare to look closely. While others rush through life, tossing pennies aside, you now understand the truth. A simple copper coin can alter your financial destiny, so before you end this video, make yourself a promise. Search every jar, open every drawer, revisit every collection passed down to you. Because the moment you stop searching might be the moment you walk away from a fortune. If a single penny can be worth nearly $1 million today, imagine what tomorrow's discoveries could hold. And if one coin can change your life, what else is hiding in plain sight? Your opportunity is out there. Don't wait. Don't hesitate. Start looking. And when you find your 1967 treasure, because who knows, maybe you will, your story of wealth and transformation will begin with the simplest symbol of all. One small copper penny that everyone else ignored. Imagine waking up one morning to discover that the dusty old penny sitting in a forgotten jar in your garage isn't just pocket change, but a life-changing treasure worth up to millions of dollars. Sounds unbelievable, right? Yet that is exactly what's happening with one of the most unexpected coins in American history. The 1968 D-Mint Mark Lincoln penny. A coin so ordinary in appearance, yet so outrageously rare in the right condition, that today it carries a jaw-dropping market value reaching as high as $968,000. And yes, that number has been climbing. Welcome back. Today, we're diving into the story behind this unbelievable coin, and how a simple cent, something most people step over in parking lots, could be the key to unlocking a wealthier lifestyle for you and your family. Stay with me, because by the end of this video, you'll know exactly why collectors are hunting this penny like gold, and why the next one to surface might just be in your own home. Before we get to the million-dollar details, let's rewind. Picture the United States in 1968. A country rebuilding its spirit, redefining its modern identity, and, without realizing it, creating one of the most valuable copper treasures of the 20th century. Millions of pennies rolled out of the Denver Mint, yet only a microscopic fraction emerged with a combination of perfection, precision, and rarity so extreme that it defies logic. That tiny anomaly is why a single 1968 D penny has shattered auction expectations, turning everyday people into overnight success stories. What makes this penny special? It's not just the date. It's not just the mint mark. It's the intersection of flawless preservation, production quirks, and collector demand that together formed a perfect storm. Think of it this way. If all pennies were cars, the 1968 D in top-tier condition would be the one parked in a climate-controlled garage with 0 miles. Leather still smelling brand new. That extra level of perfection is what separates a 1-cent coin from a luxury home buying, debt-erasing fortune. Now here's where things get even more interesting. Most people assume their old coins are too common to be valuable. But ask yourself this. How many people threw their pennies in jars? How many kids tossed them into vending machines? How many got scratched, dented, or simply lost to time? Almost all of them, which is exactly why the few surviving specimens, those kept clean, bright, uncirculated, became so incredibly scarce. Scarcity drives demand. Demand drives prices. And when wealthy collectors compete, the numbers rise fast. You might be wondering, how does a penny get to a value of $968,000? It's the same reason rare paintings sell for millions. Perception, rarity, and obsession. High-net-worth collectors want the best. They want the rarest. They want the one coin nobody else can have. And the 1968 D penny delivers that feeling in a way very few coins do. When one hits the auction block, bidding wars erupt. Suddenly a 1-cent coin becomes the star of the room. But before we dive deeper, here's a little secret that may surprise you. The majority of people who discover these high-value coins aren't seasoned experts. They're regular individuals who decided to take a closer look at what they already owned. That means the chance of you holding one of these hidden treasures is far greater than you think. And if you're feeling your heartbeat rise just a little right now, that's normal. That feeling is the realization that opportunity might be sitting right inside your home. Let's shift gears for a moment and talk about condition. You've probably seen penny collectors mention terms like mint state, red-brown, full red, and maybe thought, what does any of that even mean? Well, here's the simplest way to understand it. Color and condition are everything. The brightest, cleanest, most copper-red 1968 D pennies are worth exponentially more than dull or worn ones. That means even a tiny difference, one scratch, one fingerprint, one small mark, can be the difference between a $20 penny and $1 million one. No pressure, right? But that's also where the beauty lies. Because if you find one in pristine condition, suddenly you're holding something with life-changing potential. And this isn't a theoretical story. It's happening right now. Collectors, investors, and dealers are aggressively buying these coins because they know something most people don't. We are entering a new golden era of rare coin values. Economic uncertainty, rising inflation, and increasing demand for tangible assets have pushed rare coin prices into overdrive. And yes, the 1968 D penny is part of that surge. Now, let's imagine a scenario. You're going through an old family box, maybe from your grandparents, maybe from your parents, and tucked between faded photographs and yellowed letters, you see a small paper coin roll. You open it. Pennies spill out. Your attention stops on one coin. The year 1968. The letter D. The color bright and red. Your hands freeze. Your breath slows. Could this be it? Could this be the one? And here's the cliffhanger. Most people wouldn't even notice the difference. But you will. Because after watching this video, you'll know exactly what signs to look for, what qualities matter, and how to evaluate whether your penny belongs to the elite tier of million-dollar rarities. So how do you actually determine if your 1968 D penny is worth a fortune? First, you check the color. The redder, the better. Next, you examine the details. Lincoln's hair, jacket, the lettering, and the date should appear crisp, untouched by time. No scratches. No wear. And, my personal favorite tip, tilt the coin under a bright light. A perfect 1968 D will glow, as if it's holding on to a little piece of 1968 itself. And trust me, when you see that glow, you'll know. But here's where urgency comes in. Rare coin markets move quickly. Collectors watching this video right now might already be planning their next purchase. Wealthy buyers are circling. Demand is rising. And with every passing year, high-grade 1968 D pennies become even rarer as existing examples get locked away into private collections. Once they disappear from the market, they might not resurface for decades. So if you own one, even if you're only pretty sure you own one, this is the moment to welcome back. Imagine opening a dusty old jar, the kind that's been sitting in the corner of a garage or tucked inside a forgotten drawer, and discovering a small copper coin that could change your entire financial future. Sounds unbelievable, right? But that's exactly the reality for those lucky enough to find the 1969 D Mint Mark Lincoln penny. A humble 1-cent coin that has shocked collectors, stunned experts, and reached a staggering current market value of up to $969,000. Yes, a penny worth nearly $1 million. The question is, could one of these life-changing coins already be in your home, hiding in plain sight? People overlook pennies every day. They sweep them off countertops, leave them lodged between cushions, or toss them into parking lot donation bins. But what if the penny you've been ignoring is the very thing that could unlock the lifestyle you've always dreamed of? That's the quiet power the 1969 D Lincoln penny carries. An unexpected doorway into a wealthier future, disguised as the lowest denomination of American currency. And the surprising part is that these coins are still turning up. Before we go further, ask yourself, when was the last time you really looked at your spare change? Not just grabbed it, but examined it? Because somewhere, someone who once shrugged off a penny is now wishing they had paid closer attention. The rare 1969 D penny is one of those coins that seem almost mythical, rare, misunderstood, and sitting at the intersection of history, luck, and life-changing value. But how does an ordinary-looking copper coin rise to a worth of nearly $1 million? To understand that, you have to travel back to a very specific moment in American coin production. A time when the nation was shifting, the mint was pushing out billions of coins, and small errors carried massive consequences. The 1969 D penny is not valuable simply because it exists. It's valuable because perfection wasn't achieved. And it's the flaws, the quirks, the microscopic details that elevate it into the realm of treasure. There's something almost poetic about that, isn't it? The idea that mistakes can become masterpieces. But don't rush ahead just yet, because the story behind this coin becomes far more riveting and far more profitable. The deeper you go in the late 1960s, the Denver Mint was responsible for producing an enormous volume of pennies to keep up with national demand. Speed was essential. Precision sometimes slipped. And in the process, a limited number of coins left the mint with features that, today, separate the million-dollar finds from the ordinary handful of change. Not every 1969 D penny is valuable, but the rare ones exhibit traits that collectors crave, traits so compelling that bidding wars have erupted over them. Now you might be wondering, what exactly makes the top-tier 1969 D penny worth $969,000? Why would someone pay nearly $1 million for something that weighs just 3.11 grams? That's where the suspense begins. Because the truth is, the rarest specimens possess a combination of immaculate condition, exceptional strike clarity, and sometimes subtle die variations that elevate them to an elite status in the numismatic world. Tiny details, immense value. But here's the twist. These extraordinary coins didn't end up locked in glass cases the moment they were minted. They were circulated, used, spent, tossed into pockets, passed across counters. They traveled through American life. And some are still out there, right now, in ordinary homes like yours. Let that sink in for a moment. You may have a life-changing artifact sitting in a small bowl next to your front door and not even know it. Collectors, dealers, and investors are constantly searching for these hidden gems. And the competition is fierce. After all, when a 1-cent coin can be worth close to $1 million, the hunt becomes more than a hobby. It becomes a race. A race driven by fear of missing out on a once-in-a-lifetime discovery. A race driven by excitement, fueled by hope, and sharpened by urgency. Time is not your friend in this hunt. Each day, more of these rare pennies are discovered, authenticated, and locked away in private collections. Once that happens, the supply shrinks. the opportunity narrows. The window begins to close. What you could find today might never be found again tomorrow. And that leads to the question no one can ignore. How do you know if the penny you hold is the valuable one? You start by examining the coin's condition. The highest value 1969 D pennies are typically in mint state or near mint state condition. Look for a strong, crisp impression of Lincoln's profile, clear lettering, clean edges, and minimal wear. The date, and especially that small D mint mark, should be sharp. Even minor scratches can affect value, but don't let that discourage you. Many collectors pay handsomely even for coins that aren't perfect. Next, consider the coin's originality. Has it been cleaned, polished, altered? Ironically, trying to make a penny look better often destroys its value. Natural aging, original luster, and untouched surfaces are what buyers crave. You know how some people want their jeans distressed straight from the store? Coin collectors want the same: authenticity. Then comes the real adrenaline-pumping layer: die varieties and striking anomalies. These are the features that push a coin from valuable to extraordinary. Doubling, irregularities, and die rotation, elements that the untrained eye could easily overlook, can elevate a penny's value dramatically. Imagine scanning a coin, thinking nothing of it, only to realize those slightly thicker letters or double-lined edges mean you're holding a financial miracle. And just when you think the journey ends there, it doesn't. Because value evolves. Today, the 1969 D Lincoln penny's top reported market value is around $969,000. But collectors often pay premiums much higher than last year's records, especially as competition increases and available specimens decrease. In other words, the $1 million threshold isn't a dream. It's practically knocking at the door. If you find one of these coins today, its value next year could be even higher. Now imagine telling your family that the coin you found in an old jar paid off your house mortgage, or your debts, or your dream vacation. Imagine transforming a simple penny into the foundation of a wealthier lifestyle, one with freedom, comfort, and the ability to make choices without fear holding you back. It's an empowering reality, and it's one more and more Americans are exploring as they turn to rare coins as a hidden source of wealth. But here's the cliffhanger you didn't expect. We're not done. Because even if you find a 1969 D penny, the real question becomes how to sell it for maximum profit. And the difference between selling it wisely and selling it too quickly can be hundreds of thousands of dollars. Why do you think wealthy investors hire experts? Because they know negotiation is an art. They know timing is a science. And they know that one misstep can cost a fortune. Before you even think about cashing in your treasure, you need authentication. Professional grading services like PCGS or NGC can turn your coin from interesting to officially rare. Their seal of certification is what high-end collectors trust. Without it, even a great coin struggles to reach its true value. Then comes strategy. Do you enter it into an auction with global visibility? Do you approach private buyers? Do you allow collectors to bid against each other, driving the price upward? Or do you negotiate quietly behind the scenes, letting the exclusivity increase its perceived value? Every choice shapes your outcome. And here's where most people lose money: they rush, they panic, they underestimate their own position. But you won't, because you're learning the steps, the mindset, the strategy that transforms a simple discovery into generational wealth. By now, you're probably feeling something tugging inside you. A thought, maybe a fear. What if you already owned one of these rare pennies, and you accidentally spent it, or let it slip back into circulation? Don't worry. That's exactly why now is the perfect moment to check your jars, drawers, and containers. To examine your old collections, your inherited change, the coins you thought had no value. Because the cost of ignoring this opportunity could be enormous. And the reward for seizing it could be life-changing. The 1969 D Lincoln penny isn't just a coin. It's a reminder that wealth doesn't always appear in grand, shiny, dramatic ways. Sometimes it shows up quietly in the smallest object possible. A penny, a moment, a chance. So take action. Look through your coins, educate yourself, and remember, every extraordinary discovery begins with someone who simply decides to look. The next person to uncover $1 million penny is out there. And it might just be you. Imagine waking up one morning, reaching into an old jar of pennies, and realizing that one tiny copper coin, something you've held thousands of times without noticing, could be worth nearly $1 million. It sounds unreal, almost like something out of a movie about luck, timing, and destiny. But this is exactly what has happened to everyday people who discovered the surprising value of a simple 1978 Lincoln penny with no mint mark. And today, you're about to find out why this ordinary-looking coin has become a quiet millionaire maker, and whether the one sitting in your home right now could be next. Welcome to a journey that has transformed fear into opportunity, uncertainty into confidence, and simple spare change into life-changing wealth. And if you think that sounds like an exaggeration, stay with me, because the story of the 1978 no-mint mark Lincoln penny is full of unexpected twists, powerful lessons, and one shocking truth that collectors don't want the general public to know. After all, who wouldn't want an advantage in the race for million-dollar pennies? The 1978 Lincoln penny was minted at a time when the United States was going through economic shifts, technological changes, and rising inflation. Millions of these coins rolled off the presses, and to most people they were just another copper cent. But here's the twist. Not all pennies are created equal. Some come out with microscopic differences, rare production accidents, and unusual qualities that transform them from common pocket change into a high-value collectible. And the 1978 no-mint mark penny is the perfect example of how something so small can carry extraordinary potential. Of course, most people ignore old pennies. They toss them in glove compartments, drop them in tip jars, or sweep them into jars hoping they'll one day take them to the bank. But what if the coin you've been overlooking for years is the one that could change everything? What if you've already held a $978,000 penny and simply didn't know it? That thought alone should make your heart beat a little faster. The real reason the 1978 penny has skyrocketed in value isn't just its age or its design. It's the combination of rarity, condition, and collector demand. And demand right now is stronger than ever. Collectors and high-net-worth buyers are aggressively hunting for the highest-grade examples, those with perfect surfaces, crisp details, and not a single mark of circulation. These top-tier coins have sold for shocking amounts, with the finest known examples reaching values close to $1 million. And the craziest part is that many of these coins were discovered not in professional collections, but in everyday homes, in old boxes, coin rolls, and forgotten jars around the country. But before we uncover what makes one of these coins worth nearly $1 million, let's clear the air about something important. People often assume all 1978 pennies are valuable. They're not. And this is where many coin owners make a heartbreaking mistake. They think any old penny is a winner, only to throw away or sell the wrong one for pennies on the dollar. That fear, that quiet dread of missing out on a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, should be enough to make anyone look a little closer. Because the truth is, the value lies in the details, and without knowing what to look for, the most valuable coins can slip through your fingers before you ever realize what you had. So what exactly should you be searching for? It starts with the condition. A flawless, uncirculated 1978 penny, one with no scratches, no discoloration, and no wear, can command enormous prices. If you're thinking, how is that even possible for something that was mass-produced? Remember this. Almost every penny from 1978 went straight into circulation. They were spent, dropped, scuffed, and used for decades. Finding one that survived untouched is like finding a grain of sand that never hit the ground. Now imagine discovering one in perfect condition inside a roll you bought from the bank back in the 80s, or inside a collection handed down from a relative. That excitement, that surge of adrenaline, that moment of possibility that takes your breath away, that's exactly what thousands of people are feeling right now as they recheck their old coins. Because the stakes are too high to ignore. But the condition is just one part of the story. There are rare varieties of the 1978 penny that collectors chase aggressively. Some have double dies, those beautiful, accidental minting errors where the lettering or the portrait shows shadows or doubling. Others have misaligned features, unusual strikes, or tiny differences so subtle that you'd miss them unless you look under magnification. These minting anomalies are what transform a normal penny into a 6- or even 7-figure treasure. And the best part, many people don't even know these errors exist. They look at their coins quickly and move on, never realizing they just held a rare anomaly in their hand. It makes you wonder, how many life-changing pennies have been tossed into a coin jar and forgotten forever? How many people missed a once-in-a-lifetime chance simply because they didn't take a moment to look? Of course, here's where the real urgency comes in. In the world of rare coins, markets rise and fall, sometimes dramatically. Right now, high-grade 1978 no-mint mark pennies are at peak demand, reaching that staggering market value of $978,000 in top condition. But markets don't stay hot forever. Collectors move on, trends shift, and opportunities shrink. The fear of waiting too long and missing the window is real, and it's one of the reasons more and more Americans are digging through their old coins today. But that fear is balanced by something far more powerful: the excitement of discovering unexpected wealth, the thrill of holding a small piece of American history that could open doors to a better, wealthier, more secure future. And when you think about it, what could be more inspiring than realizing that a simple childhood coin, or a penny your parents saved decades ago, could hold the potential to pay off debt, buy a home, retire early, or finally achieve the lifestyle you've dreamed of? That's the magic of rare pennies. They remind us that fortune doesn't always come from big investments, inheritances, or risky decisions. Sometimes it comes from paying attention to the small things. Literally. A coin worth 1 cent can become worth hundreds of thousands, even millions, simply because someone took a closer look. Now, before we reach the final and most important part of this video, ask yourself a simple question. When was the last time you checked your old coins? Not a quick glance, but a real look? Because if you haven't, the clock is ticking, and every day people are discovering treasures hiding in plain sight. You don't want to be the person who hears about these success stories and wonders, what if? What if I already had one? What if I missed my chance? The truth is, you might already own the most valuable coin of your lifetime. And you'll never know unless you looked. So here's the cliffhanger that matters most. The next rare 1978 penny worth nearly $1 million hasn't been found yet. It's still out there, waiting, sitting quietly in a jar, a drawer, a forgotten box somewhere in this country. And someone, maybe someone just like you, is going to be the person who finds it. Imagine waking up tomorrow and realizing that the tiny copper coin sitting in an old jar, tucked away in your closet for decades, is suddenly worth more than a luxury home in Malibu. Sounds unreal, right? But that's exactly what has happened to a select few Americans who discovered that their ordinary-looking 1988 no-mint mark Lincoln penny wasn't ordinary at all. Some of these coins, once dismissed as pocket change, are now selling for up to millions of dollars, with top-tier examples pushing a current market value of $988,000. And here's the part that should make your heart beat a little faster. There may still be more of these rare treasures hiding in plain sight. Welcome back. Today, you're about to uncover why this seemingly common 1988 penny has become one of the most sought-after modern Lincoln cents in the world. And more importantly, how owning the right one could dramatically change your financial future. If you're holding on to old coins, thinking they're just sentimental keepsakes, think again. This might be the most important video you watch this week. Let's begin with the truth that few people talk about. Most 1980s pennies are worthless beyond their face value. Millions were minted. People spent them without thinking twice. But tucked within those countless everyday coins are a handful of mysterious outliers. Pennies that carry errors, anomalies, or unique production quirks. These coins don't just escape the factory. They escape history. They become the exceptions that rewrite the value of the entire year. And the 1988 no-mint mark Lincoln penny is the perfect example of that phenomenon. As we trace its story, picture the mint in 1988. The machines are running at full speed, pumping out billions of coins to meet America's demand for circulating currency. It's a normal year, nothing flashy, nothing unusual. But somewhere in that ocean of copper-coated zinc pennies, a few were struck in a way that defied the standard. A few were minted with characteristics so rare that collectors today are willing to pay life-changing amounts of money to get their hands on them. It's like winning the lottery, except you don't even know you bought a ticket. Before we continue, let me ask you something. When was the last time you actually looked at a penny? I don't mean glanced. I mean really looked. Most people don't. But people who become wealthy from coins, they pay attention. They know fortune hides in the details the world ignores. And yes, sometimes that fortune is sitting in your junk drawer. Now here's where the excitement really begins. A select group of 1988 pennies carry an error many collectors didn't even know to look for until years later. These are coins with subtle but powerful anomalies, often in the details of the reverse design, the lettering, or the transitional elements that bridge the 1980s to the 1990s minting styles. These little differences, nearly invisible to the untrained eye, can push a penny from being worth 1 cent to being worth hundreds of thousands, even approaching the $1 million mark. Imagine holding a coin that looks completely normal until you realize it isn't. Collectors call these transitional variety pennies the gold mines of modern numismatics. They're rare, they're desirable, and they carry a sense of mystery that fuels competition among high-end buyers. That competition is exactly why prices keep climbing. When wealthy collectors want a specific variety, they will pay staggering amounts to secure it before anyone else does. And right now, this coin is experiencing that same surge. If you've ever wondered how people suddenly elevate their lifestyle, how someone goes from money stress to money freedom, it often starts with a moment like this. A moment when something ordinary turns into opportunity. But there's also fear hidden inside this excitement. Fear that you might overlook something valuable because you never took the time to check. Fear that someone else might find what you could have found. Fear that you might already own a fortune, but it's sitting in a jar collecting dust. Don't worry, you're about to learn exactly what to look for. Picture yourself sorting through a small pile of old coins. You notice a 1988 penny with no mint mark. You turn it over. Everything seems normal, at least at first glance. But then you look closer. The spacing on the letters is slightly different. The details on Lincoln Memorial lines seem more pronounced or unusually aligned. Maybe the FG initials look distinct in a way that doesn't match the typical design. Suddenly, your simple penny becomes something else. Everyone else would spend it, but you're not everyone. Now let's create a little suspense, because here's the part that keeps collectors awake at night. Many people have already thrown away valuable 1988 pennies without ever knowing what they had. Some have handed them to cashiers. Some dropped them in tip jars. Some vacuumed them up. And while that might feel terrifying, it also means something thrilling. The supply is already lower than anyone expected. That scarcity is exactly what pushes prices into the 6-figure and even 7-figure territory. You might be wondering how these coins go from pocket change to a nearly $1 million market value. The answer lies in grading. When these rare 1988 pennies are found in extraordinary condition, sharp details, high luster, flawless surfaces, they become part of an elite tier of collectible coins. Professional grading companies authenticate them, assign a grade, and set them on a path where investors and collectors battle for ownership. That battle drives the price higher, and the highest graded examples can reach astronomical numbers. We're talking $988,000 in the current market. Yes, for a penny. Now imagine the possibilities. What would you do if a coin dealer handed you a check for nearly $1 million for something you once kept in your kitchen drawer? Pay off your house? Start a business? Travel the world? Or simply take a deep breath and feel the stress melt off your shoulders? Wealthy lifestyles begin with wealth-building decisions, and one of those decisions is knowing when you're sitting on value. But let's not pretend this is all effortless. This is where your attention becomes your advantage. Not everyone will pull a rare 1988 penny from their collection. But the people who don't look will never know. And the people who do look, they give themselves a chance at the extraordinary. Here comes another cliffhanger. A surprising number of coin owners have no idea how to check their 1988 pennies correctly. They rely on memory. They rely on guesswork. They rely on blurry phone pictures and quick snapshots. And because of that, they miss out. But you're here and you're learning what they aren't. That's the difference. That's where wealth shifts. To truly understand your coin's value, you need to examine it carefully under strong lighting. Study the lettering. Check the fine lines. Compare the reverse details with verified images of known varieties. Look for those tiny markers that separate the $1 million rarities from the everyday coins. Yes, it takes patience. But patience pays. sometimes more than you ever imagined. Even more fascinating is how demand has changed. 10 years ago, collectors weren't hunting this coin with the intensity they are today. But as high-grade examples surfaced and record prices were reported, the market exploded. Suddenly, the 1988 no-mint mark penny transformed from a normal pocket coin into a treasure worth fighting for. And today, that fight continues. Wealthy buyers want this coin. Investors want this coin. Even beginners entering the hobby want this coin because they know it represents possibility. And whenever demand rises faster than supply, value follows. Let's pause for one quick question to reset your attention. When you hear the words life-changing money, does your heartbeat speed up just a little? If it does, that's normal. Your mind is telling you something important. Opportunities like this don't come often. That brings us toward the most powerful part of this story. The real value of this 1988 penny isn't just in its price tag. It's in what it represents. It reminds us that wealth isn't always earned by working harder. Sometimes it's earned by noticing what others ignore, by paying attention, by learning enough to recognize opportunity when it's sitting right in front of you. And there's one final twist to keep you thinking long after this video ends. Experts believe the number of surviving high-grade rare 1988 pennies is extremely limited. Some estimate only a small handful exist in pristine, investment-grade condition. Others think there may still be undiscovered coins sitting in drawers, coffee cans, or childhood collections. No one knows for sure. That uncertainty is exactly why now, right now, is the moment to look. If you've ever dreamed of living wealthier, freeing yourself from financial pressure, or building a legacy that lasts long after you're gone, then this is your chance to take action. Go through your old coins. Check every 1988 penny you find. Don't assume anything. You might just be holding a piece of hidden value worth $988,000, or even more if future demand continues to rise. Your financial breakthrough might not come from Wall Street, a lottery ticket, or a big promotion. It might come from something as small, as humble, and as overlooked as a penny. But only if you're willing to look closely. Welcome back. Before we begin, let me ask you something bold. What if the smallest coin in your home, a coin so ordinary you might have walked past it 1,000 times, was secretly worth more than the average American home? What if the 1989 no-mint mark Lincoln penny, yes, the same copper-coated coin you might have tossed into a kitchen drawer, held a hidden value that could transform your financial future? Stay with me, because what you're about to discover may change the way you look at every coin you've ever owned. It all starts with a simple truth that most people overlook. Wealth doesn't always announce itself. Sometimes, it sits quietly in a jar, in a shoebox, or in a dusty old collection inherited from a relative who never realized what they had. And today, we're diving into one of the most fascinating examples of hidden fortune, the 1989 no-mint mark Lincoln penny, a coin with an astonishing market value climbing as high as $989,000. Yes, nearly $1 million for a penny. If that doesn't spark curiosity, I don't know what will. But this story isn't just about a coin. It's about what the coin represents: opportunity, timing, awareness, and the very real possibility that wealth is closer than you think. You might feel a little fear of missing out, fear of overlooking something that could have changed your life. That's good. That fear will keep you sharp as we uncover the truth behind this rare treasure. To understand how a 1989 penny can possibly be worth up to millions of dollars, you have to step back and consider a few things most people never think about: minting errors, die variations, and the sheer randomness of rarity. In 1989, pennies were struck by the billions. You've probably held hundreds of them over the years. So what makes one coin stand out in a sea of identical copper faces? It's the imperfections, the mistakes. In rare cases, coins leave the mint with microscopic anomalies. A double die here, a misaligned strike there, an off-metal composition no one expected. These anomalies create a level of rarity so extreme that a single example skyrockets into legendary value. Sometimes collectors spend their entire lives looking for them. Sometimes they appear in pocket change. And sometimes they're discovered by everyday people who never imagined their fortune would be disguised as a 1-cent coin. This is where the excitement begins, because the 1989 no-mint mark penny has been linked to some of the most dramatic value jumps in the last decade. private auction sales have pushed its price into the $900,000 range for flawless and highly unusual examples. That's a number that makes people sit up straight. Imagine holding a penny that could pay off the mortgage, change retirement plans, or give you the financial freedom you've always dreamed about. Makes you want to check your drawer, doesn't it? But hold on. Before you run off to look, there's something you must understand. Not every 1989 penny is valuable. And that's where many people get confused. The fear of missing out mixed with the thrill of possibility creates a perfect storm of emotion. But the truth is, value comes from specifics. The right condition, the right error, the right moment in the market. And right now, that moment is peaking. Demand is at an all-time high, and certain rare variants of the 1989 penny are commanding life-changing prices. Imagine being the person who finds one. Imagine the moment. You hold a small, worn coin between your fingers, thinking it's nothing. But then you notice something strange. A misaligned date, a subtle doubling on the lettering, a weight that feels just slightly off. Your heart races. Could this be it? Could this be the penny that changes everything? The kind of excitement people only feel when they realize they might be holding hidden treasure. You'd probably laugh nervously, maybe look around the room as if someone else might suddenly try to snatch it from you. After all, who ever thought a penny could cause that kind of adrenaline? But that's the power of knowledge. Once you know what to look for, the world shifts. Every coin becomes a question. Every discovery becomes a possibility. And possibilities lead to action. The next step is understanding how these coins are evaluated. Condition is king. Collectors and grading services look for clarity in Lincoln's portrait, definition in the lettering, luster on the surface, and absence of scratches or wear. A tiny flaw can drop a coin's value dramatically, while perfection can send it into the stratosphere. Think of it like real estate. A house with good bones is worth something. A pristine luxury home in a rare location? That's where the millions appear. But even among well-preserved coins, the hidden errors matter most. Double dies from 1989 are incredibly scarce. Off-center strikes, clipped planchets, and transitional metal errors are even scarcer. And when scarcity meets demand, value explodes. It becomes a race. Who will find the next great example before the rest of the world catches on? You may be wondering, why is demand so high? Why are collectors willing to pay nearly $1 million for a penny? The answer lies in a simple principle. The rarer the treasure, the stronger the chase. Human beings have always placed value on the unobtainable. From diamonds to fine art to rare coins, the thrill of exclusivity drives passion. And in this case, massive financial bids. And here's where the urgency kicks in. Markets shift. Trends rise and fall. Today's $989,000 penny might be worth even more in 5 years. Or the chance to cash in might be strongest right now. No one can predict the peak with absolute certainty, and that's exactly why the smartest collectors and sellers act when others hesitate. Waiting could cost you, acting could reward you. But this decision, the choice to look through your coins, to get them evaluated, to learn what you truly have, could be the moment that defines the next chapter of your financial life. It's not just about selling a coin. It's about recognizing value where others see trash. It's about stepping into the mindset of someone who finds opportunity instead of excuses. You might feel a little excitement now, maybe even a bit of impatience. Should you check your jar of coins right now? Should you pause this video and sprint to your kitchen? I wouldn't blame you if you did. But hold on, because we're getting to something even more important. There's a cliffhanger hidden inside the 1989 penny story, and it's this. The most valuable examples weren't found by seasoned experts. They were discovered by regular people, people who simply took the time to look. One was tucked inside an old wallet, another in a forgotten coffee can. One sat in a coin collection passed down through a family for decades, completely overlooked. This is your reminder that wealth often hides where you least expect it. That your path to a wealthier lifestyle might begin not with a big investment, not with a risky business, but with curiosity and a single penny. And here's something worth smiling about. How many times have you swept coins off the counter and thought, ugh, I don't need this change. Maybe next time you'll look twice. Maybe that little clink on the tabletop will feel more like opportunity knocking. Funny how perspectives change, isn't it? As we reach the end, there's one final thought to leave you with. The greatest mistake anyone can make is assuming value isn't within reach. The world is full of hidden fortunes. Some are buried. Some are inherited. Some are discovered in plain sight. And sometimes, they're sitting quietly in the palm of your hand. So check your coins. Learn what you have. Take action while the market is thriving. Because the next person who finds a 1989 penny worth nearly $1 million could be someone watching this video. And the only difference between them and everyone else is that they looked. And who knows, your wealthy future might begin with a coin so small you almost ignored it. Imagine waking up tomorrow and realizing that the small, forgotten penny sitting inside an old jar in your attic is worth nearly $1 million. Hard to believe, right? Yet every year, stories emerge about ordinary people who discover that the little copper coin they once dismissed as pocket change is actually a rare gateway to life-changing money. And today, we're diving into one of the most shocking examples of all. The 1991 Mint Mark Lincoln penny, a coin whose value can reach into the millions, with a current documented market value soaring as high as $991,000. Yes, $991,000. For a penny. So before you rush off to check your old change jar, stay with me, because what you're about to learn could redefine how you look at every coin you've ever handled. This story begins in a place few people think about, a minting facility in Denver, Colorado. The year was 1991, a time when the economy was shifting, technology was accelerating, and millions of Americans were unknowingly spending tiny historical artifacts in grocery stores, gas stations, and vending machines. Among the flood of pennies produced that year, a microscopic fraction carried defects, anomalies, or near-perfect strikes. Some were minted with small, almost invisible quirks that would later turn them into rare treasures. And one of those coins, the 1991 Lincoln penny, quietly began its journey through the pockets of America. A coin so unassuming that most people would never notice its true potential, even if it sat in the palm of their hand. Now, why would a coin from 1991, a year not distant enough to feel historical, suddenly become a 6- or 7-figure collectible? That's the question that sparks curiosity, and for many, fear. Because while most people assume that valuable coins are old, dusty relics from the 1800s, seasoned collectors know the truth. Some of the rarest, most lucrative finds are hidden in plain sight, disguised as modern change. And the 1991 penny is the perfect example. The fear comes from knowing that you might have already spent one. The excitement comes from knowing you might still find one. And the urgency, that comes from the market itself. Because when a coin like this rises to nearly $1 million, demand surges, collectors swarm, and opportunities disappear quickly. But that's only part of the story. Behind every rare coin lies a deeper mystery. What makes it valuable? For the 1991 penny, the value comes from a combination of rarity, condition, and the unexpected errors found in certain specimens. Some coins show doubled dies, where details appear slightly duplicated. Others show off-center strikes, small die cracks, or unusually sharp minting that produce a premium quality finish. These tiny imperfections, flaws we'd normally overlook, can launch a coin's value from 1 cent to hundreds of thousands of dollars. And in one extraordinary case, a pristine specimen with exceptional features reached the $991,000 mark, shaking the coin-collecting world and igniting a wildfire of excitement. Think about it. A single penny potentially paying off a mortgage, wiping out debt, funding a business, or even becoming a foundation for generational wealth. It sounds like a fantasy, yet it's all too real for collectors who know what to look for. And this is where the story shifts. Because right now, countless Americans are sitting on coin collections, old jars, inherited boxes, pocket change that's never been checked. Some people even walk past rare coins every day without knowing it. Maybe you have a 1991 penny in your home at this very moment. Maybe it's resting under your car seat. Or maybe it's sitting in the bottom of your sock drawer, quietly waiting for someone curious enough to uncover its true worth. And here's the twist. Most people never check. They assume the opportunity isn't real or think they won't get lucky. But luck isn't the deciding factor here. Knowledge is. When you learn what separates rare coins from ordinary ones, You stop relying on chance and start using strategy. You transform every coin you touch into a potential investment opportunity. And that's exactly what the wealthy do. They recognize value before the rest of the world catches on. So ask yourself, if a penny is now worth $991,000, what other treasures might you be overlooking? This is where the excitement and tension truly build, because the market for rare coins is heating up fast. Collectors with deep pockets, auction houses with global reach, and investors chasing alternative assets are all pouring money into pennies that once scraped across convenience store counters. When demand spikes, values climb, and coins that once seemed ordinary suddenly become the focal point of bidding wars. And as values rise, so does urgency. Opportunities like this don't last forever. When a market becomes aware of a treasure, that treasure becomes harder to obtain. Prices rise, supply shrinks, and the people who move quickly are the ones who benefit the most. But even as the market grows more competitive, the story of the 1991 penny teaches a powerful lesson about possibility. It reminds us that wealth doesn't always come from massive investments or complicated strategies. Sometimes it comes from recognizing what others ignore. A simple penny, just one, can change a person's life. And that's what makes this journey so compelling. You're not just learning about a coin. You're learning about a mindset. The mindset that says opportunity can be anywhere, even in something as small and overlooked as loose change. Of course, this raises a question that might be poking at your curiosity right now. What exactly should you be looking for? How do you know if your 1991 penny is one of the rare ones? While the full checklist can get highly technical, the basics are surprisingly easy to spot. Look for strong, crisp details, clear lettering, a sharp D mint mark, any visible doubling on the date or lettering. Check for unusual surfaces, proof-like finishes, unexpected shine, or errors in the rim or alignment. And above all, look for condition. A coin in mint state condition commands the highest value, and if your penny has been preserved well, you could be sitting on an extraordinary piece. But let's pause for a moment and ask what may be the most thrilling question of all. What if your coin is worth more than you think? What if it falls into the rare category? What if it's the next coin that shocks the market? Because even as we speak, collectors are on the hunt, auctions are breaking records, and small discoveries are turning into big paydays. The coin world is changing, becoming more exciting, more competitive, and more rewarding for those who pay attention. You might be wondering if this is realistic. After all, how does a penny reach values close to $1 million? The simple answer is scarcity and demand. When only a tiny number of high-quality or rare specimens exist, collectors compete fiercely. They pay premiums. They fight for ownership. Some collectors spend decades waiting for an opportunity to acquire a coin like this. And when the moment comes, they're willing to pay almost anything. That's how a 1991 penny can sell for $991,000. The market responds to rarity, and rarity drives prices up. Now imagine this moment as a turning point for you. Imagine going through your old coins and realizing that the wealth you've been searching for might already be in your possession. Imagine the feeling of discovering that one coin you thought was worthless, only to realize it could change your financial future. That is the power of knowledge. That is the power of awareness. And that is why people who pay attention are the ones who uncover hidden fortunes. And just when you think the story is winding down, here comes the cliffhanger. Because while the 1991 penny is already shocking in value, rumors continue to circulate about unreported specimens, coins that may be sitting in private collections, waiting to be authenticated. If one of these coins surfaces with even rarer traits or better condition than known examples, the next sale could push past $1 million. Maybe $1.2 million. Maybe $1.5 million. Or even more. And someone, somewhere, will be the person who finds it. That someone could be you. So before this video ends, make yourself a promise. Don't let opportunity slip through your fingers. Don't assume your coins are ordinary. Take the time to search, to learn, and to examine every penny you come across. Because as long as coins like the 1991 Lincoln penny continue to break expectations, the possibilities are wide open. This tiny piece of metal has already changed lives, and yours might be next. Welcome back. Before we go any further, let me ask you a simple question. What if the small, ordinary-looking penny sitting somewhere in your home right now is worth more than your car, your house, or even your retirement fund? What if a single 2002 Lincoln penny could change your financial story forever? I know that sounds unbelievable, almost like the plot of a movie where the hero finds treasure buried under everyday life. But stay with me, because today we're diving deep into the hidden world of modern rare pennies. Specifically, the 2002 Mint Mark Lincoln 1-cent coin. An innocent little coin that has shocked collectors by selling for over $200,000, and in the right condition, has the potential to reach values climbing into the millions. It's no secret that most people overlook their loose change. Pennies fall between couch cushions, hide in glove compartments, and vanish into drawers we never open. But some pennies, especially those minted in the early 2000s, contain some of the rarest errors and exceptional conditions ever discovered. And the 2002 penny is one of the most surprising examples. A coin so common, yet so unpredictable, so full of potential. Like that friend who seems quiet at parties but suddenly sings like a superstar when the karaoke machine turns on. The story begins in a place few people ever think about, the Denver Mint. In 2002, millions of Lincoln cents rolled off the production line. Nothing seemed unusual, nothing seemed extraordinary. Just regular pennies meant for everyday pockets. But somewhere in that massive wave of production, a few coins were struck with such stunning precision, or with extremely rare mint errors, that they became treasures hiding in plain sight. Imagine coin collectors digging through rolls and suddenly freezing, staring at a penny that looks like it came straight out of a time capsule, untouched by decades, flawless, glowing, almost unreal. And this is where things start to get interesting, because one of these near-perfect, high-grade 2002 pennies shocked the market when it sold for over $202,000. A penny sold for more money than most people earn in years. And yes, collectors believe that in the right conditions, especially if more uncirculated examples surface, values could climb into the millions. That's the part that sends a little chill down your spine. What if the next one is in your home? What if the next 6-figure or 7-figure penny is the one you're about to check? Before we go deeper, think about how it feels knowing that you might have ignored something this valuable for years. It's that little sting of fear, the fear of missing out, the fear that someone else might find a fortune in a penny you walked past. But don't panic. If you're watching this, you're already ahead of the curve. You're becoming the person who spots opportunity where others see nothing but copper and zinc. Now, what exactly makes the 2002 penny so valuable? It comes down to 3 powerful factors: condition, rarity, and error potential. Condition is king. A flawless penny is like a flawless diamond. It commands respect. When grading companies see a penny with perfect surfaces, razor-sharp details, and no signs of wear, the value skyrockets. Imagine a penny so perfect it looks like it was struck yesterday. That's what wealthy collectors fight over. Then there's rarity. While millions were minted, only a tiny fraction survived in pristine condition. Think of it like owning a vintage sports car with 0 miles on it. Everyone knows the model exists, but having one untouched is another story entirely. And finally, errors. The universe of mint errors is full of surprises. Double dies, off-center strikes, broad strikes, die cracks, wrong planchets. Some of these errors can multiply the coin's value 10, 20, or even 100 times. A collector once joked that finding a rare error penny feels like winning the lottery, except the odds might actually be better. You might be wondering, how does someone know if their penny is valuable? The answer is simple: look closely. The 2002 penny can show doubled lettering, unusually sharp or distorted features, or striking anomalies that immediately stand out. And if you find something unusual, the next step is professional grading. A graded coin creates trust, and trust creates value. Grading agencies are like luxury appraisers. When they certify your penny, the market listens. But here's where the story takes a powerful turn. Most people never check their pennies. They underestimate them. They assume value only comes in the form of gold bars or rare diamonds. And because of that assumption, people miss out on life-changing opportunities. That's why this coin is so exciting. It reminds us that wealth isn't always hidden in complicated investments. Sometimes, Wealth is sitting in a small glass jar on your kitchen counter. Now, imagine yourself selling a rare 2002 penny for $200,000. Imagine paying off debt overnight. Imagine traveling. Imagine upgrading your lifestyle or investing in something that creates long-term freedom. The moment you convert an overlooked coin into wealth, something shifts. You no longer see ordinary things the same way. You become someone who spots value, someone who recognizes opportunity. And if you're feeling that spark of excitement right now, good. Hold on to it, because the deeper you go into this world, the more addictive it becomes. Many people start with one valuable coin and end up discovering a dozen more. It's like opening a hidden door in your own home, a door you didn't know existed, a door that leads to financial transformation. But there's also the emotional side. Picture this. Someone else finds a flawless 2002 penny before you do. They sell it. Their life changes. And you're left wondering, what if? That tiny pinch of fear of missing out, isn't meant to scare you. It's meant to motivate you. Fear can hold people back or it can push people forward. The question is, which one will you choose? The clock is ticking. High-grade pennies from the early 2000s are being discovered fast. Collectors are hunting aggressively, and the supply is shrinking. Every time a penny gets graded and sealed in a slab, the window narrows. That's why now, right now, is the moment to take action. So take a deep breath and picture this next part. You pick up a handful of pennies, start examining them, and suddenly your heart stops for just a moment. You notice something different, something unusual, something clean, sharp, perfect. And for a split second, you wonder, is this it? Is this the one? That small moment of hope, mixed with excitement and fear, is what drives every collector to keep searching. And then comes the cliffhanger. What if the most valuable 2002 penny ever found hasn't been discovered yet? What if the million-dollar example is still sitting inside a dusty jar in someone's garage or in a forgotten box from 2002? What if it's waiting for the right person, maybe you, to pick it up and recognize its potential? That's the magic of this coin. It's not just copper-plated zinc. It's possibility. It's the reminder that wealth often hides in ordinary places. And the people who become wealthy are the ones who look closer, who stay curious, who don't underestimate the power of small things. So as this video continues, keep your eyes sharp, your mind open, and your instincts ready. Because the next time you hold a 2002 penny, you won't see just a coin. You'll see opportunity. You'll see potential. You'll see a chance to step closer to the wealthy life you're working toward.